Not the correct thumbnail, but you know what? That is okay. Thumbnail, but you know what? That is okay. Okay, at least the audio sounds good. So I'll wait for a bit. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. All right, everything sounds good here. Excuse me. I should probably play some music. Not that. Go here. Let's see. I wonder what kind of music I'd like to put in this video as soon as I get done with it. Maybe something in here. Which one was the one that sounded kind of funny? Dun, 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 It's been a while since I've last listened to music in the first Star Ocean game. That's not it. That's not it either. No. Oh, was it this? No. Oh my goodness, what was it? Nope. 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 Definitely not. There we go. Honestly. Yeah, I'll worry about that later. But in the meantime, let me see. Let's go ahead and get this started. Hello, my name is Xean RPG, and I'm just doing a small live stream, editing together a video that I'll release before I do my Let's Play of Eternal Sonata for the PlayStation 3. Unfortunately, there's a roadblock when it comes to recording PS3 games in great quality. So let's see. I already worked on my audio for the script, so it's not going to be a long video. It's going to be 4.5 minutes. So yeah, I still play games on the PlayStation 3. Even back then, I was planning on playing PlayStation 3 games eventually on my channel, and now the time has come. So in order to do that, I need to show an example as to how I'm going to be going about with this. So let's go ahead and bring this out. And let's go ahead and get rid of the audio here. So we don't need this. We just need a visual. So let me see here how this will start. Have you ever tried using the Hapag HD PVR2 to record PlayStation 3 footage, especially through HDMI? If you have, then you might recognize this accompanying. Right, let's see. I guess this entire thing would work, so let me see. Okay, so we don't need that. So let's go ahead and cut that. Get rid of it and place it right at the beginning. And I guess we could do a proper fade in. It's going to be a 30 frames per second video, so nothing too drastic. In fact, I don't think, yeah, 1080p is weird when it comes to recording, so the frame rate is a little bit uneven. Makes me wonder if I can get away with doing 60 frames per second, but oh wait, hang on. Let me go ahead and go here. Okay, let's go back a full second. Get rid of that. Delete. And let me see if I can do this without messing up anything, and I can. All right. Let's see. Have you ever tried using the Hapag HD PVR2 to record PlayStation 3 footage, especially through HDMI? HDMI. Trying to make sure that there is a little bit of space between certain talking points. So through HDMI. If you have, then you might recognize this accompanying message from Hapag Capture as such, specifically the second sentence. Make sure the HDCP copy protection is not applied in your video source, or something along the line. Followed by a completely black screen. Alright, so let me see here. Something along the line. Alright, and since I know something will have to be displayed in a little bit, I'll have to, first off, let's go ahead and get rid of that. I get the feeling that this 4.5 minute video is going to take at least an hour to make. Alright. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, I think that could work. Let me see. the line, followed by a completely black screen. All right. I'm going to go ahead and cut that. And it can 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do that. And get rid of this. And I need to make sure that there was a moment where it was just a blue screen, but that's not an example I want. So let's go. That's very rare. That never really happens to me at all. So all right, let's see. It can tell what resolution the console is displaying. All right, since I'm talking about that, let's get rid of that. And since I'm talking about the resolution, and I circled the resolution right here, so. All right, I need a visual example, so let's see. Have you ever tried using the Hauppauge HD PVR2 to record PlayStation 3 footage, especially through HDMI? If you have, then you might recognize this accompanying message from Hauppauge Capture as such, specifically the second sentence. Make sure the HDCP copy protection is not applied in your video source, or something along the line. Followed by a completely black screen. It can tell what resolution the console is displaying, but nothing is on screen. Alright, so let's go ahead and cut that. Get rid of that. Do that. All right, let's see here. But nothing is on screen. HDCP stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection, the PlayStation 3, as well as the PlayStation. I probably should have included additional footage of me holding a PlayStation TV, so just to show what it looks like, just in case if anyone has no idea what that looks like. TV uses this application, which prevents you from recording through HDMI, even if the resolution is at 720p. Thankfully, later consoles. All right, let's see, is at 720p. All right, I need a fade in of the PlayStation 4 and 5 here. So hold on. Actually, let me just go ahead and cut that audio. 720p. Okay. All right, let's see. All right, so let's go ahead and push this all the way over there. I think that's a good length. I only record a minute of each console just to prove a point, so let me go ahead and get rid of that and put you up here so that when I go back 21, I'll do a proper fade in, fade out. So okay, so now that we've got that, then we'll do something like this and this. All right, let's see how that looks from afar. Even if the resolution is at 720p. Thankfully, later consoles like the PlayStations 4 and 5 allowed the player to turn off that. All right, so maybe that should be backwards. But I did talk to them. I do talk about these consoles in order, so Streamlabs is doing okay. Let me see. 720p. Thankfully, later consoles like the PlayStations 4 and 5 allowed the player to turn off that feature. Yeah, let's do a full second. So, all right, get rid of that, and then go back here. Get the PlayStation 5 footage on the ready if I can. What the heck? Where's that? That was weird. Come on, stop glitching. There we go. Get rid of that. All right, so that's a 7, so let's go back. Okay. Oh, I think I know why. This is getting a little bit too much. No, let's not do that. Not yet, anyways. Okay. Let's see how that looks now. Resolution is at 720p. Thankfully, later consoles like the PlayStations 4 and 5 allowed the player to turn off that feature, although the PlayStation 4 didn't have that option until after an update early in its lifespan. All right, so let's do back at 20. Actually, in its lifespan. Yeah, get rid of that. All right, we're done with that footage. So we're going to go back to using this for just a short while until I find something. So let's go back up. Go all the way back to the 20. As seen here. Go here and make sure it's on the line. There we go. All right, let's see how this looks. Is at 720p. Thankfully, later consoles like the PlayStations 4 and 5 allowed the player to turn off that feature, although the PlayStation 4 didn't have that option until after an update early in its lifespan. All right, so let's see here. Lifespan. Okay. So update early in its lifespan. So far, even though the system software is still being supported by Sony, the PlayStation 3 is still plagued by this roadblock. Sure, you can use component cables as... I probably should have recorded myself holding a pair of component cables as another example, so I've got two things to do then as a second option. But in my experience, the footage never looked all that great, and the shadows behind some icons were out of alignment. Even at that point in the console generation, HDMI was, and is, the ideal cable one should use for good quality visuals. And thankfully, there is a way to combat that. Okay, so I don't need this footage for the time being, so let's cut that out and place this elsewhere. I think I'll place this near the end of this video. Although, I forgot how long the... Let me see. Which one was it? I think it was that one. Showing... Oh, I forgot about that. Darn it. I forgot that, oh, what's it called? I forgot that Logitech Capture records two separate audios, and I have yet to figure out how to turn that off. So let me see here. All right, let's see. Obviously, I don't need this. Oh, it records the microphone and the desktop at the same darn time, huh? Interesting. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and delete that. And let me see here.
This is
Okay.
it.
All right, I kind of need to keep the um kind of need to keep the audio. So let's go here. Go here. Go here. This is going to be weird. Like, let me see. Man. All right, let's try it another way then. All right, so I just need to make sure that it's as close to the audio as possible. So let me see. That's not what I wanted to do. Let me go here. All right, let me see how that sounds. Um,
This is an HDMI splitter I use to bypass the.
okay, so all right, let's go ahead and cut that. As soon as I get all this situated, then I'm going to cut the middle audio out. So, all right, so let's see how that looks now.
And thankfully, there is a way to combat that. This is an HDMI splitter I use to bypass the copy protection on the PlayStation 3. I bought this sometime during my Let's Play of Tales of the Abyss. When I got this in the mail, it didn't look anything like the one I saw in photos. I thought they sold me a fake. It was recommended that you get a splitter that is HDMI 1.4 compliant. As you can see at the side of the box, it says HDMI version 1.3, but I'll show you why that's irrelevant in a minute.
Okay, so let's go ahead and cut that because I know there is a long conversation I had with one person around here. So let me see.
This is what my HDMI splitter looks like. I'll show you why
Now you know how.
irrelevant.
Okay, so let's cut that. Get rid of you. Actually, let's go here and make sure that there is a little bit. And get rid of you. Okay. Get over here. This is going to be very, very difficult. uh, okay, I need to open another. There is another audio channel. Okay. Get down, please. It won't. Really? Really? I have to do this again. I hate doing this. There. That's what I wanted to do. So just in case if anything bad happens. Okay, nothing bad happens. Nice. All right, let's see here. I made this big and this is not... Yeah, this is difficult. I wonder if I can... Hold on. I know a trick. Let me see. All right, let's see. I want it to be as close to that as possible. Like right here. Now let's see how that sounds. So this is what my HDMI splitter looks like. Many splitters don't look like this, so some may vary in design. Alright, so now that I know that's good, I need to somehow make sure that this is all cut. So, let me see. So this is the... Alright, so I need to scroll up, cut, and get rid of these. Put this right here. That way, I'll put it right there and place you right here. Let's see. I'll show you why that's irrelevant in a minute. So this is what my HDMI splitter looks like. Many splitters don't look like this, so some may vary in design. However, they should have similar cable inputs. The front side of the device has inputs for HDMI and the power supply that should come with the splitter. The back side has two outputs for HDMI, although using one is enough for this demonstration. Let me show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Now I need to make sure that... Now I need to make sure I can get to over here. Let's see. First off, turf. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Well, maybe I should do a full second then. First turf. All right. Okay. Get rid of that. And let's get rid of these two. Why did I press that? Go here if I can without messing up. What the heck did I do? Oh. Let's see. Why can't I... There we go. Maybe that's what I was looking for. Kind of. Oh boy. Where did that footage go? Oh. It's supposed to be over here. This is kind of nerve-wracking. All right. Now what I meant.
One is enough for this demonstration. Let me show you.
All right, let me see here. Okay, so let's get rid of, well, no.
First off,
Okay, so that's close enough. So okay, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right. And get rid of these. Go here and... All right, let's see how that looks from there to there. So
into the minute. So this is what my HDMI splitter looks like. Many splitters don't look like this, so some may vary in design. However, they should have similar cable inputs. The front side of the device has inputs for HDMI and the power supply that should come with the splitter. The backside has two outputs for HDMI, although using one is enough for this demonstration. Let me show you. First off, when you plug in the device, the light beside the
well, now that I know that the audio sound good in the first 3 sections of the video, I'm going to go ahead and delete that and delete that. So let's see how this looks here.
Let me show you. First off, when you plug in the device, the light beside the inputs for the power...
Maybe I should cut a little bit of that out for brevity. All right, so get rid of you. Oh no. What the? I meant to select these. There we go. All right, so let's actually watch the whole thing.
That. This is an HDMI splitter I used to bypass the copy protection on the PlayStation 3. I bought this sometime during my Let's Play of Tales of the Abyss. When I got this in the mail, it didn't look anything like the one I saw in photos. I thought they sold me a fake. It was recommended that you get a splitter that is HDMI 1.4 compliant. As you can see at the side of the box, it says HDMI version 1.3, but I'll show you why that's irrelevant in a minute. So this is what my HDMI splitter looks like. Many splitters don't look like this, so some may vary in design. However, they should have similar cable inputs. The front side of the device has inputs for HDMI and the power supply that should come with the splitter. The backside has two outputs for HDMI, although using one is enough for this demonstration. Let me show you. First off, when you plug in the device, the light beside the inputs for the power supply should be red. Next, plug in the HDMI cable of your affected Sony console of choice into the HDMI input. And as you can see, the light beside the input is green. Finally, plug in your non-included HDMI cable into one of the outputs behind the device. We'll use output number 1 for this example. When you plug the cable into your capture card and turn on the console, the light beside the output should be green as well. With that, this is what the setup should look like. Tedious? Yes.
Why the heck is... Oh, I know why. Hold on. I actually moved it, didn't I? Let's go ahead and put it back then. All right, so hopefully this doesn't affect it in any way, so...
Effective in the long run? Absolutely. Let's turn on Hapag Capture and see for ourselves.
Okay. Let's go ahead and select all that, and we're done with the camera footage. I apologize that the camera footage looks a little bit hazy, but if I were to prioritize frame rate, for some reason that darkens the image. Um, Actually, let me keep that in for a second. And let me see where, there it is. And what do you know? I'm kind of almost done here. Almost done with the footage. Told you it wasn't going to be a long video. In fact, how long have I been streaming right now? Only 36 minutes? All right then. Okay, let's see. What did I say here?
All right, here we are in HPOG Capture. Let's go ahead and select HDMI as our video source.
I turned it off sometime later, didn't I? Oh. All right, so let me go ahead and cut that out then. Okay, let's see. All right, I don't think I really need much sound to work with here, so let's get rid of that. Delete and do that. Let's see.
On HPOG Capture and see for ourselves. All right.
All right, so we don't need that audio anymore. Let's put you right in here, if I can. There we go. All right, let's actually watch from the beginning again to see how this looks.
Have you ever tried using the HPOG HD PVR2 to record PlayStation 3 footage, especially through HDMI? If you have, then you might recognize this accompanying message from HPOG Capture as such, specifically the second sentence. Make sure the HDCP copy protection is not applied in your video source, or something along the line. Followed by a completely black screen. It can tell what resolution the console is displaying, but nothing is on screen. HDCP stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection. The PlayStation 3, as well as the PlayStation TV, uses this application, which prevents you from recording through HDMI, even if the resolution is at 720p. Thankfully, later consoles like the PlayStations 4 and 5 allowed the player to turn off that feature, although the PlayStation 4 didn't have that option until after an update early in its lifespan. So far, even though the system software is still being supported by Sony, the PlayStation 3 is still plagued by this roadblock. Sure, you can use component cables as a second option, but in my experience, the footage never looked all that great, and the shadows behind some icons were out of alignment. Even at that point in the console generation, HDMI was, and is, the ideal cable one should use for good quality visuals. And thankfully, there is a way to combat that. This is an HDMI splitter I used to bypass the copy protection on the PlayStation 3. I bought this sometime during my Let's Play of Tales of the Abyss. When I got this in the mail, it didn't look anything like the one I saw in photos. I thought they sold me a fake. It was recommended that you get a splitter that is HDMI 1.4 compliant. As you can see at the side of the box, it says HDMI version 1.3, but I'll show you why that's irrelevant in a minute. So this is what my HDMI splitter looks like. Many splitters don't look like this, so some may vary in design. However, they should have similar cable inputs. The front side of the device has inputs for HDMI and the power supply that should come with the splitter. The back side has two outputs for HDMI, although using one is enough for this demonstration. Let me show you. First off, when you plug in the device, the light beside the input for the power supply should be red. Next, plug in the HDMI cable of your affected Sony console of choice into the HDMI input. And as you can see, the light beside the input is green. Finally, plug in your non-included HDMI cable into one of the outputs behind the device. We'll use output number 1 for this example. When you plug the cable into your capture card and turn on the console, the light beside the output should be green as well. With that, this is what the setup should look like. Tedious? Yes. Effective in the long run? Absolutely. Let's turn on Hapag Capture and see for ourselves. Alright, here we are in Hapag.
Alright, so let's go ahead and save. And see here.
Capture. Let's go ahead and select HDMI as our video source.
I wonder, did I select this at all? Let me see. When do we see... Okay, let's see. I may have to jump cut a few things, but that's okay. All right, so do that and
As our video source. So HDMI as our video source.
what did I press? Dang it. Huh. That was weird. I always hate it when something like that pops up. Not sure what that is. All right, so don't like that at all. There we go. Let's see how that sounds.
Source. And after a while, we
All right, did I already? Yeah, I did. So,
source.
all right, I guess I can cut that and do that. Get rid of that. Go all the way right here. All right, let's see here.
Here we are in Hapag Capture. Let's go ahead and select HDMI as our video source. And after a while, we have a display. One piece of advice though, if you plan on recording gameplay footage, start recording the game the moment you...
All right, so I need to make sure I'm right here. And just make sure that this keeps on playing until near the very end. So let's see. Okay, here it is. So okay. And then I'll do a proper fade in, fade out for both of these. Okay. Now let's see it.
If you plan on recording gameplay footage, start recording the game the moment you reach the main menu.
Okay. So let's go ahead and play the rest here.
The PlayStation 3 keeps switching resolutions when transitioning from the main menu all the way to the game. So much so that through my experience, the audio doesn't get recorded at all. Just a heads up.
All right, there's a little bit of silence in there, so let's go ahead and cut that out since I'm practically done with the video. I wonder, can I? Thank you. All right, let's see here.
Just a heads up. Now you know how I record gameplay footage from my PlayStation 3. It could be better, but this is all I have. I have heard that other capture cards released later bypasses the copy protection by default, which fascinates me to no end. I would like to get my hands on such a device, maybe one day.
Let's see. Which fascinates me to no end. Let's see here. Better, but this is all I have. I have heard that other capture cards released later bypasses the copy protection by default, which fascinates me to no end. I would like to get my hands on such a device, maybe one day, now since it works. Did I accidentally... Now since it works. Anyways, I think I accidentally cut myself saying that I'll be content with this. Let me see. That about wraps up on this demonstration. Yeah, I think I accidentally did. Darn it. Oh well. Now you know how I record gameplay footage from my PlayStation 3. It could be better, but this is all I have. I have heard that other capture cards released later bypasses the copy protection by default, which fascinates me to no end. Fascinates me to no end. I would like to get my hands on such a device, maybe one day. Now since it works. Anyways, as always, thank you for watching. Anyways, that about wraps up on this demonstration video. Works. Oh well. You get what I mean. I tend to work with old technology constantly these days. Amanda! Hey! It's been a while. How have you been? Long time no see. Hope you had a fantastic January. Maybe one day. Anyways, that about wraps up on this demonstration video. As always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, hopefully you liked what you've seen. Please do what you must. It'll really help me out a lot. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Okay. Okay, let's do that. Whoop. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I'm editing a video detailing how one can bypass the HDMI copy protection on PlayStation 3. That's good. I'm glad you did. Yeah, I'm not sure what the weather was like last week for you, but it snowed here. It started snowing. In fact, I'll show you. Let's go back a month. Yeah, it started snowing on the 24th, and then it still snowed on the 25th. And pretty much town was covered in snow and ice for a good majority of that week. There's still patches of dirty snow here and there, but apart from that, the town's pretty clear. So, yeah. All right. And even then, I still had to work, so of course. Sometimes I made a joke. It's kind of a morbid joke, but I'm like, if something happens to me and I end up dead, there's no way they would there's no way they would let my dead body rest. They would channel my spirit just to keep me working. They're that desperate. Then again, it'd be a double win for them. They wouldn't have to pay me at that point. Oh well. But yeah, I'm glad your January was good. So. Yeah. To catch up, I've just got done playing Final Fantasy IX behind the scenes. I want to say I've 99%ed the entire game, so I'm perfectly happy with how it turned out. It'll be, I want to say, give or take 3 or 4 weeks before all the episodes release on YouTube. So, yeah, I will say the final episode will be an extras episode. It's an hour and 45 minutes long. It's going to be called The Loose Ends. So, yeah. But yeah, once those episodes get released, I'll be playing Eternal Sonata. In fact, the game shown here is that. So, yeah. Unlike Final Fantasy IX, which was a blind let's play, but I knew a detail or two about it, I have no idea what to expect with Eternal Sonata. Although, after seeing the 13-minute long opening for the game, I'm kind of terrified. Between the whimsical and calmness of one village you see in the opening, two dark things happen in that opening. And I'm all like, I hope the game doesn't get too dark. It's another game recommended from an old friend I had a long time ago. He's the same one that recommended me playing Tales of the Abyss, and he recommended playing Eternal Sonata. So, yeah, I love Tales of the Abyss, and I hope to like Eternal Sonata just as much. So, all right, I'm going to view this one more time. So, let's see the almost finished product.
Have you ever tried using the Hapag HD PVR2 to record PlayStation 3 footage, especially through HDMI? If you have, then you might recognize this accompanying message from Hapag Capture as such, specifically the second sentence. Make sure the HDCP copy protection is not applied in your video source, or something along the line. Followed by a completely black screen. It can tell what resolution the console is displaying, but nothing is on screen. HDCP stands for High Bandwidth Digital Content Protection. The PlayStation 3, as well as the PlayStation TV, uses this application, which prevents you from recording through HDMI, even if the resolution is at 720p. Thankfully, later consoles like the PlayStations 4 and 5 allowed the player to turn off that feature, although the PlayStation 4 didn't have that option until after an update early in its lifespan. So far, even though the system software is still being supported by Sony, the PlayStation 3 is still plagued by this roadblock. Sure, you can use component cables as a second option, but in my experience, the footage never looked all that great, and the shadows behind some icons were out of alignment. Even at that point in the console generation, HDMI was, and is, the ideal cable one should use for good quality visuals. And thankfully, there is a way to combat that. This is an HDMI splitter I used to bypass the copy protection on the PlayStation 3. I bought this sometime during my Let's Play of Tales of the Abyss. When I got this in the mail, it didn't look anything like the one I saw in photos. I thought they sold me a fake. It was recommended that you get a splitter that is HDMI 1.4 compliant. As you can see at the side of the box, it says HDMI version 1.3, but I'll show you why that's irrelevant in a minute. So this is what my HDMI splitter looks like. Many splitters don't look like this, so some may vary in design. However, they should have similar cable inputs. The front side of the device has inputs for HDMI and the power supply that should come with the splitter. The back side has two outputs for HDMI, although using one is enough for this demonstration. Let me show you. First off, when you plug in the device, the light beside the inputs for the power supply should be red. Next, plug in the HDMI cable of your affected Sony console of choice into the HDMI input. And as you can see, the light beside the input is green. Finally, plug in your non-included HDMI cable into one of the outputs behind the device. We'll use output number 1 for this example. When you plug the cable into your capture card and turn on the console, the light beside the output should be green as well. With that, this is what the setup should look like. Tedious? Yes. Effective in the long run? Absolutely. Let's turn on Hapag Capture and see for ourselves. Alright, here we are in Hapag Capture. Let's go ahead and select HDMI as our video source. And after a while, we have a display. One piece of advice though, if you plan on recording gameplay footage, start recording the game the moment you reach the main menu. The PlayStation 3 keeps switching resolutions when transitioning from the main menu all the way to the game. So much so that through my experience, the audio doesn't get recorded at all. Just a heads up. Now you know how I record gameplay footage from my PlayStation 3. It could be better, but this is all I have. I have heard that other capture cards released later bypasses the copy protection by default, which fascinates me to no end. I would like to get my hands on such a device, maybe one day. Anyways, that about wraps up on this demonstration video. As always, thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, hopefully you liked what you've seen. Please do what you must. It'll really help me out a lot. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye for now. Alrighty, apart from a video detail or two, as well as some music, I'm pretty much done with this. So I'll add, let me see. That's the track, right? Yep, that's the track. All right, so in fact, how long is that track? Kind of perfect. Oh well. Let's go ahead and put this in and save it for later. So, saving. All right, so yeah, I'm not showing my face because it's been quite a few days, so yeah. Wait a minute, how long have I been streaming? Almost an hour. Okay, not bad. But yeah. Just a little bit of emotional roller coaster here and there, but that's okay. Also, I made a Discord not too long ago by a recommendation from Mortal here, although you might recognize him as Zachary G on YouTube. So yeah, I've got 3 things showing. Like, we've got the typing of the words, which if you want to just talk and hang out, you can come here. Whenever an episode of a Let's Play that I'm doing is released on the day, I'll leave a link to the video. I decided to switch the time to release it at 7 a.m. because by the time I get to work, it'll be 8 o'clock. So once 7 o'clock rolls around, then I'll leave the link in the Discord, and then after a while, I'll be on my way to work. I thought of an idea of doing the video title and then typing out the description I have for the video and then leaving the link. And then behind the scenes live streams and others. So if ever I'm going to do a behind the scenes of anything just like this, editing stream, or a video showing an example of something, which in this case will be the HDMI splitter, then I'll announce it in this stream, which I get the feeling the brothers that are in my Discord haven't been notified yet. So yeah, just trying out a few new things since truth be told, how the heck is my audio? Okay, audio is still being played. Truth be told, I feel like I think I finally understand how this whole YouTube thing works. I feel like ever since I released the tour of my room video, YouTube is trying to nudge a little bit of help for me. Probably giving me a hint like, hey, this video made quite a lot of views than some of your normal views and your normal videos. If you made more content like that, then maybe more people would watch. We'll prioritize that type of content instead of your Let's Plays, which is your go-to, which YouTube, please back off. I don't want you deciding my audience and fans what they can and cannot watch. That's their decision. So, yeah. I didn't ask for their help. They're not the ones who made my YouTube channel. I did that on my own. So, but yeah. Apart from that, video production wise is
pretty good. So as soon as I sign off here, then I'll record a few live footages of me holding the PlayStation TV and the component cables for the PlayStation 3. But yeah, oh, and um, this isn't part of my, it's kind of a part of my YouTube channel, but I haven't made much with it, but I did get 7 chapters done in the book that I'm working on. I'm proofreading it. I'm in the process of proofreading it, so there's a lot. Yeah. Been working on this for a year and I'm done with 7 chapters. My goodness. And no, I'm not under a publisher. I can't handle that stress. So, yeah. Um, yeah, that's pretty much what's been going on here and there. So, keep it up. Hello, Cannabis Chronicler. I love reading your name. Yeah. Logan, that's Amanda. So, yeah. Yeah. Cannabis Chronicler and Zachary G are brothers, which surprised me. So, yeah, you just missed it, Logan. I just got done editing a video I'm working on. So, yeah. You're welcome. Truth be told, when I saw your name subscribe to me, um, one day I joked to myself, I'm like, what's he selling me? Ah, well. Yeah, I think I'll stick around for maybe a couple minutes just to. I'll stick around for a couple of minutes just to have a small chat. So, yeah. But yeah, I was mentioning a few minutes ago that um, the video I'm working on, I mean, I think I figured out how this whole YouTube thing works. I feel like ever since I released the tour of my room near the beginning of January, which is actually exactly a month ago, I feel like since that video has gotten a lot more views than what I normally got, YouTube thinks that that should be my priority. And I'm all like, YouTube, back off. I'm the one making the videos. Let my audience decide whether or not they should watch. So, well, thank you very much. I very much appreciate it. So, yeah. Actually, in fact, let me check something. Since, oh, I'm live now. Thank you, Google. Thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, like now they're practically telling me, "Hey, you should make more." I mean, I do like making these helpful videos. Um, I do like making these helpful videos. I'm glad I made the video on how to record video games using the Hapag HD PVR, and I'm definitely going to be glad once I get um, the video for the HDMI splitter for the PlayStation 3 done. Um, because, you know, there's always someone out there that wants to make their own content one way or another, and hopefully they'll stumble upon videos like these. But while I am glad that people are watching them, at the end of the day, my main thing I like to do is Let's Play. So, yeah, there you go. I'm actually glad that this is helpful. So, yeah. And it still amazes me that the Hapag company is still making these capture cards. The three other capture cards that I have in my possession, the companies don't make those anymore. The Black Magic Intensity Shuttle I can kind of understand because I get the feeling that it didn't make enough money back in comparison to their other um, products, which is funny because I use DaVinci Resolve, which is a Black Magic design product, and I'm just using the free version. So, yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure how well Eternal Sonata will do once I get that Let's Play up and running. I'm hoping it's be like what Infinite Discovery ended up. Surprisingly, that Let's Play is the most viewed Let's Play I had, so we may need to collaborate. Really, what kind of idea do you have? Just give you time? All right then. Well, I don't know if you've seen my game collection live stream videos. It's in the playlist called A Look Back on Xean RPG 10 years later. The last two live streams I did um the last two episodes in that live stream was showcasing my game collection as of that date. And then I occasionally showed more games that I bought during that time. I'm saving money right now, so I haven't really bought anything since the tail end of 2025. So, yeah. I mean, I've got money, but I'm taking it easy for the time being. So, I need to catch up with all. Oh yeah. Word of warning. My first Let's Plays on my channel dates all the way back to 2014. My first Let's Plays were Dot Hack Infection and Dark Cloud for the PlayStation 2. I don't look back fondly on those Let's Plays. Since should I play this? Oh, everything is too expensive. Yeah, that's true. I'm glad that I'm able to find some of the things that I do have at a um, relatively quote unquote affordable prices. So, yeah. Hmm. Although I will say a collaboration might, mm, I was thinking I would play the game and somehow you wouldn't be able to see nor hear the game, which is why that'd be difficult. Hmm. But yeah, going back to my older Let's Plays, yeah, that was, oh boy, me trying way too hard. I would ask, sometimes I like to play this game with a few of my coworkers and their friends. I'd ask them, guess how old I am? Many of them, more often than not, guess the wrong age. I may look young, but I'm not young. So, I did tell this one story in one particular episode of Final Fantasy IX about how some man, I believe um, he's middle aged and a foot and a half taller than me. Um, It didn't help that I was holding my lunch bag, but I held the door open for him. Keep in mind, I have a little bit of facial hair growing. I have the word staff on the back of my shirt, and I was wearing a badge that clearly indicates that I'm an employee. He says, "Thanks, little man." Dang it. It doesn't matter where I go. I think if I were to dress the part, nobody would bat an eye that I was a student. No, I am not. I wish I was 24. I really wish I was 24. With the knowledge I have right now, I wish I was 24. Ugh. Yeah. But yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you very much. I saw that. I saw that. The last time I saw something like this was when I was doing a hangout stream playing Xenosaga Episode 2 when it comes to level grinding. I've told a story about one anime that rubbed me the wrong way. I do watch anime, but not too often, only when my brother shows me. I did remember that one anime that he showed me. I remember the name. It's called How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? I did not like that show because I am not a fan of overly exaggerated muscled men. um, yeah, whenever they flex, their shirts rip, and it just made me uncomfortable. And if the muscles weren't the ones that irritated me, it was the dialogue. We watched the English dub, and I didn't like the way the show was written. I'm just like, I don't talk like that, so why? I'm pre- that's rude of me, but the cherry on top was the second to last episode where the characters walk into a hangout, and I see a lot of men, and I'm all like, finally, normal men, says the straight man. And at one point, one person decides to gather his friends to take a picture. And the cameraman was like, all right, everyone ready? 3, 2, 1, muscle! And everyone flexed, and all their shirts ripped off. I didn't like that, so I walked out of the living room. So I didn't see the final episode. I don't plan on watching it. Definitely not the worst show I've seen, but it's definitely one I do not like. It was about exercising, which had some useful tidbits, so at least it had that going for it. So, but yeah. But yeah. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Man, I really need to watch that show in particular. Walmart's always selling the complete series, and it's always there. No one's buying it, and I mean, I would get it. I mean, I've seen quite a few scenes from that show. Although then again, I think I remember as a kid we weren't allowed to watch it for one reason or another. But yeah, I know it's a good show. Um, I need to buy another bookshelf just in case if I end up maximizing my collection, which there's not a whole lot of games left on my wish list. So my game collection is close to being complete. So hmm. Yeah, I remember watching a series of episode reviews for um, Avatar: The Last Airbender. It was two brothers, and they discussed what they liked about every single episode. And what it amounts to is that by the tail end of their retrospective, they said that it's one of their favorite shows they've ever seen. So, yeah, maybe one day I think I'll pick up Avatar: The Last Airbender. That'd be cool. Yeah, I'm not much of a TV show watcher myself since, um, yeah, like to conceptually. Yeah, like I'm usually a fan of um, certain fictional mythology. I can't remember the last thing I've played or watched where I was captivated by the setting and the culture around it. So, sorry, bumped the mic. um, Not a TV show, but would Horizon Zero Dawn count since I did 100% that game a couple of years back? Final Fantasy 9. Yeah. Um, I mean, as you saw on my Discord, I pretty much completed the game. Not 100%ed it, but what I've got um, out of that game, I'm very satisfied with how the extras episode turned out. So, yeah, Horizon Zero Dawn. My brother and I, um, we started, I wouldn't say a tradition. It was going to be a tradition where, let's see, he's a PC gamer, and as I was collecting for the PlayStation 4 several years back, I kept seeing Horizon Zero Dawn, and I'm like, I've heard this game being good, so I decided to pick it up out of the whim. It was a um, greatest hits released, $20, the complete edition. So, uh, no brainer. I was going to pick that up, and I did. And then my brother picked up the PC release, and so we decided to play the game at the same time to see who could beat it first. He's kind of a scatterbrain, so he didn't finish first. I ended up finishing first, even though I took a long break in between certain story events. For example, at one point in the game, I stopped, and then I ended up 100%ing Okami HD for the PlayStation 3. And then a little bit after that, I went back to playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and then I ended up 100%ing it. So, I love Horizon Zero Dawn, and I can't wait to play Forbidden West as soon as I get two more PlayStation 5 games out of my way. So, yeah. But yeah, I liked the setting of Zero Dawn. It's definitely, yeah. I'm half tempted to boot the game up now just to look at the mountains. I'm not a nature guy, although then again, for the past few days, I've been walking around the premises of my job just to empty my mind. So, yeah. um, hmm. Yeah, even the book that I'm working on has a little bit of culture into it. Even though it's science fiction, it does take place on one planet. Um, it's oh yeah. I mean, I don't like living out in the country, but I do like nature. So I don't live out in the country, just in case you were wondering. It's weird where you live at. Like the front yard is um the road kind of leading into town, and then the backyard kind of leads to the country border. Kind of balances things out. It's kind of funny, but I do catch myself looking the back window in the backyard every once in a while. So, yeah. Although um, unlike certain, um, am I in the U.S.? Yeah, I've been living in Oklahoma for almost 9 years now. I used to live in California, so it was a huge culture shock when, yeah, lives in Croctaw Res. I have no idea where that is. Is that a place in California? I only know a handful of places in California. So, Indian Nation in Oklahoma. Oh, Croctaw Res is in Oklahoma? I did not know that. Huh. So, although everyone here, many natives here are very passionate about their people, so you're bound to meet at least one or two around here. So, okay. Hmm. I might have pronounced. I probably butchered that. The names in several areas here are very interesting. Kind of reminds me of playing Infamous Second Son, where the main character and his brother are part of the Akomish native tribe. Akomish is made up, obviously, for the sake of the story, but that was a kind of an interesting aspect. It's kind of cool that your family is around the area. I wonder. No. Oh, an hour and 24 minutes? Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I remember having this discussion with Amanda back in my streaming series of Dark Cloud. Yeah, my first one. Yeah, I Let's Play Dark Cloud back in 2014. I replayed Dark Cloud as a live stream series last summer. Um, but yeah, she herself has family all over, almost all over the United States. And for me, I've been told that my family, whether it be on my mom or my dad's side, do live in Oklahoma, but I have not seen any of them. Mainly because growing up, there is a reason why we never interacted with either side. No offense to them, but they weren't a good influence for any of us. So it's probably a blessing in the long run, which it's not probably, it is. So, yeah, I remember a long time ago, back in 2011, a few years before I started making YouTube videos, I made a Facebook account mainly because of someone I met through one of my sisters. Um, yeah, the moment I made the Facebook account, almost everyone from my dad's side of the family was trying to be friends with me. And I'm all like, yeah, that's actually kind of cool. And then sooner or later, there was a whole bunch of them. And um, through their activity feed, I realized that most of them did. They posted GIFs or memes that I didn't think were appropriate, so I quietly unfriended them. They tried friending me back, but no. It's like my rule on um, Discord. No crude humor. We may be adults, but that doesn't appeal to me in the slightest. So, I mean, I used to watch content from one company on YouTube, and I haven't watched content from them since 2015. I grew out of that type of humor. So, sometimes you have to do it. Yeah, know when to stop. So, yep. Yeah, dark humor kind of sucks. Actually, I kind of made a dark joke, a dark pun, in the description of an episode of Final Fantasy IX I released in Sunday. Um, it's called Deep in Grief and the Medicine. In that episode, it's what happened in that episode. You know this. Garnet, due to experiencing a lot of trauma, ends up not being able to speak for a while. And when I first saw that scene, I honestly thought that she had a hand in preventing herself from talking, if you know what I mean. Um, I even wrote in the description, I'm like, I honestly thought she had a hand, parentheses, no dark pun intended. Yeah. Yeah, that was bad. That was bad. But honestly, when I thought about that quote, I didn't think of the dark humor implication. Whoops, man. Reminds me of this one dark humor I made. It reminds me of this dark humor I made in the dark days of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the less I bring up that quote, the better. I kind of regret saying it. So I've never said that online since I was on a hiatus. So, but I have said it within family and friends, and some of them found it funny, and they're like, "Geez, man, yeah." Sometimes I could be a little dark, but I know when to not cross that line. So yeah, I leave quotes in the description of the episodes just to give you a hint of an idea as to what happens in the episode. Um, Here's another funny one. I say funny, this is awful, but um, the episode where Braun was versing Kuja, I wrote in the description, I can't say she didn't try because she did. And that's it. I like funny descriptions in the videos I watch. I like reading them just in case if I find something a little humorous, but sometimes I'm not always funny, but when it happens, it surprisingly I'm using surprise twice. I surprise people. Um, it goes for yeah. You have to have some comic relief. Yeah, I mean sometimes I make biblical references too. Like for example, I we were about a year and a half ago. My siblings and I rewatched the first three seasons of SpongeBob, and that episode with Kevin the sea cucumber. Um, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this one passage in the Bible where this poor woman was suffering from 12 years of flowing blood from her body. If you know what that entails, then you know. Um, and when SpongeBob saw Kevin the sea cucumber, he says, "If I could just touch the fringes of his spandex," and then I said, "I would be cured from my flow of blood." That got a good laugh. That got a good laugh, but uh, that poor woman. At least, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I surprise myself whenever I think of something, it just comes up automatically. Sometimes it doesn't, which, man. I mean, it's like what I mentioned in the first episode of um, a look back on Xean RPG 10 years later. Um, in order to understand my jokes, you have to know me as a person and what content I consume pretty much on a daily basis. Um, like, I don't keep up with trends or what's popular. I just like what I like in my personal square, as I say it. So, um, I remember making a lot of Rayman 3 references. Because, yeah, Rayman 3 is my childhood game, and I've played that game constantly. And I would highly recommend it if you could find a good version to play. Um, but I remember my brother and I would constantly quote, a drink, and hurry up. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other examples of pulling out a reference out of a hat. Um, it sometimes drives my brother crazy, but hey, he puts it on himself, showing me something that he might think I might like, and then I end up saying something woody. So, yeah. Let's see. Um, Kind of makes me wonder if I'll be able to keep up with. Yeah. I mean, there are sometimes where my brother and I, whenever we watch something, sometimes we say the same quotes, and that gets us laughing. It makes our older sister give us a strange look, but hey, it's funny. Sometimes I can see her trying to hold in her laughter. I'm like, you can't hide that from me. I know you think that's funny. I mean, I don't personally think I'm funny, but I'm glad that people are laughing. Yeah. Yeah. Although surprisingly, my younger sister makes me laugh the most. Although to be fair, I'm showing them my episodes of Final Fantasy IX, and sometimes she gets a um, dead look in her face when she looks at me. Mostly whenever I steal from an enemy using Zidane, her just her justification as to why I shouldn't steal is because it wastes a turn, and most likely the item that I do steal I can get from a store. She isn't wrong, but I don't know. I like to save money, but yeah. Sometimes my brother and I think the same darn things, but it's kind of terrifying. That's a first. Yeah. I mean, that's what you're supposed to do in Final Fantasy when you have a thief class, right? Prioritize them to steal. So, oh yeah, I did tell her about Mug, and she's all like, "Okay, as long as you hurt them while stealing, then that's that doesn't sound bad when you think about it, but when you say it, oh man, dang it." Oh gosh, it's like when they haven't seen this episode yet, but um when I got to this one place, Conde Patai, way of I'm not sure if that's the correct way of saying it or um yeah, she could be very very funny. There was actually I'm trying to think. Um we watch this one ABC show called 911, and at one point one character decides to move back to Texas so that he could be with his son more. Um and he was a firefighter in LA, and when he moved to Texas, I guess the firefighter position didn't work out, so he ended up being an Uber driver. And even though it was a struggle, he was able to make it through. Um, there's one person we know, and her boyfriend. I thought that they were going to move here, but it turns out he was going to get a job elsewhere out of state. But I thought that if he and she were going to move here, then he'd need a job, and I would hate to put it upon him as to have the exact same job position I do for a living. And then my sister's like, "Hey, he could always be an Uber driver," and I'm like, "Sis, stop thinking." Oh, that reminds me of one episode. Okay, I remember. This reminds me of one episode. Um, there's another 911 show called Nashville. Re- Newer episodes dealt with a cyber attack that happened in Nashville, and um, at one point, um, the cyber attack caused traffic lights to malfunction. The cyber attack caused the traffic lights to malfunction, and then there were car crashes everywhere, and people, like tens of people, kept going to the hospital. And at one point, you see premature babies in this one room, and it's a sweet scene. And my sister's like, "Why do I get the feeling that the cyber attack is going to happen at the hospital and kill the babies?" And I'm like, "Sis, why did you say that? Now it's going to happen. You should have said that." And then, sure enough, like 10 minutes later, it happened. And I'm like, "Sis." I said it with the deepest grit I could ever make. Oh my goodness. Thankfully, the firefighters were able to save the day in that episode. So all was good. So, man. But yeah, she wasn't always that talkative, but when she opens up, oh my goodness. And surprisingly, I didn't have any issues with streaming whatsoever, so I'm actually glad this is all going well. Well, um, yeah, okay. Um, yeah, I wasn't expecting this stream to last long, but I am glad that um, you and Amanda popped up and decided to have these conversations. It's fun. I quite like doing this. Yeah. You're welcome, Amanda. And I'm not sure if I said this, but welcome back. So, you're very welcome, Logan. Alrighty, so yeah, it's about to be 8:30 where I'm at, and I'll be going to bed in about an hour. So yeah, I'll work a little bit more on the video that I'm working on, and then I'll probably edit it some more and render it sometime tomorrow. So yeah. Um, Before I sign off though, keep it up, bro. I'm enjoying it. Thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying this. But before I sign off, I will say, any of you who happen to pop up in, well, not pop up in the chat. Um, if anyone watches this later, know that I do have a Discord. Um, the only way you can get on my Discord is if you email me at, in fact, let me type it right here. xeanrpg@gmail.com. That is xeanrpg@gmail.com. I've actually had this email since, I want to say, 2016. So yeah, email me and I'll reply to you a link to my Discord server. That way you can hop on, stay up to date as to what I'm doing behind the scenes, chat with me when I get the time, whenever it's early in the morning during my lunch hour or in the evening. And be on the lookout when I put a link up for the new episode of a current Let's Play that I'm posting on YouTube, which is still currently Final Fantasy IX. So yeah, those videos will be released 4 days a week until the playlist is complete. So Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays mornings. I'm going to change the time to where before I go to work, then I'll um, release the video at 7 a.m. That way, before I leave for work, I'll leave the link to the video in the Discord before I am off to work. So, yep. Thank you, Amanda Howard and Cannabis Chronicler, also known as Logan, for popping up in the chat room. Really enjoying these conversations. Had an excellent time laughing, and I'm glad that both of you are enjoying this. And I hope to, well, it's going to happen since Wi-Fi has been working well for me thus far. So, yeah, I hope both of you will have a great evening. So, yeah, as always, my name is Xean RPG. Take care of yourselves out there. Be safe. And I'll see you again soon. Bye.